did a scene with Russell Crowe, and that was my first big scene, you know. I'm George Burgess, and Midnight with Tack and Matty is better than Lego.
G'day. Welcome to Bin Night with Matt and Matty. This episode, we have a guest who is, look, he's not one of the Ramsay Street alumni himself, but he is related. Well, some of the people in his circle are related. So this is George Burgess, right? And if you might know George Burgess if you're from Australia or if you're from the UK. He's from Yorkshire. He played for England in the rugby team more than once, I believe. He also played for Russell Crowe's footy team in Australia called the South Sydney Rabbitohs, which I like to say they're sort of like the darling of the NRL in Australia. I played a lot of rugby league growing up, not professionally, for the Kellyville Bushrangers. And during my time, the South Sydney Rabbitohs, their team got completely cut. Probably a financial thing, maybe because they weren't doing too well in the comp, but they were scrapped for a long time. And Russell Crowe decided to find the funds and bring it back, and now it's one of the most loved teams in the comp. And at one stage, Russell Crowe had George Burgess and three of his brothers all playing at the same team. They were absolutely iconic. These boys are absolute giants. And while George was playing, he was doing what we do, and he had a bunch of young kids, but then he also decided to spread his wings and get into something that he always sort of wanted to get into, and that's acting. He had aspired to be an actor when he was younger. You're going to hear about it in the podcast anyway, so I won't bore you too much with that. But George and I live up here together. I think it's mind-blowing that he has he's managed to make that switch from football into acting, and not just in a small way. I mean, he's got two major films coming out this year. One comes out April 10th called The Beast with Dan Macpherson, with Luke Hemsworth, and with Russell Crowe. I might have to look that up. I think there's a good chance they've all been on Neighbours. I'm not sure. But that comes out on April 10th, which is going to be huge and do the awards circuit, particularly here anyway. And then there's another one, a huge one called The Wait, which just got big distribution. It premiered at Sundance Festival in Berlin, and that's with Ethan Hawke and Russell Crowe. So this guy is just like, he doesn't do things by halves. He's going straight to the top, baby. Here is your interview with George Burgess. 2026, two movies with Russell Crowe straight out of the gates. The film, The Wait, is it The Wait? The Wait has acquired, you got North America distribution.
Yeah, very exciting, to wake up to that. So we had the Sundance Film Festival, Berlin Film Festival, and it's been picked up from there. So, we were just chatting about it on the WhatsApp group this morning with the boys, and they're all pretty excited. Looks like we'll get another premiere at some point.
Is the boys just you and Russell Crowe and Ethan Hawke and all the rest?
Well, the core group what we had in Germany filming was myself and Avi Nash, Sam Hazeldine, Lucas Lingard Tolson, and Austin Emilio. They were the group that we were just always trekking around the Bavarian forest, supposed to be Oregon, but that was the core group of guys that really got to bond during the film, and we've kept the WhatsApp group going. So it's a good bunch of mates that we'll have for a lifetime, hopefully.
So you guys were a bunch of soldiers in that group post Great Depression, was it?
Yeah, so it was set in 1933, and in the group of guys trekking through the wilderness with gold was 4 prisoners from a labor camp and 2 prison guards.
Yeah.
And then you also had a woman, Native American woman, called Anne. Yeah, and she was played by Julia Jones. So, and then we also had Ethan Hawke in there as well. He was one of the prisoners. He's the main prisoner, and he's trying to get back to his daughter.
So it's centered around Ethan's the lead, I guess.
Yeah, and Russell
Yeah.
he plays the warden of the prison camp, and he gives these guys a chance to do this job, which is a pretty hard task, but in promise that they will get time off their sentence. But I think he's in on the deal. It's a bit of a dodgy deal.
I honestly, I just tried to watch the trailer because I've seen you doing promo. I saw you got to go to Sundance. I saw a bunch of stuff about it. So I've done a quick YouTube search and I'm like, where's the trailer? The first 10 videos that came up, I watched them and it's like the official trailer. And I'm thinking, this is weird. I don't know if this is Ethan Hawke's best performance. It's all fake. It's all
All
AI
AI.
generated.
Yeah, it's terrible. So they actually haven't released a trailer yet, but I'm sure now that they've been acquired that it'll get released pretty soon because they're talking about a theatrical release in September. So we got Beast coming out in a few weeks, so it's all happening.
Luke Hemsworth, Dan Macpherson. And then I hear these rumors going around that you broke Dan McPherson's hip.
I pretty much did, but it was the
Did you really?
proverbial straw that broke the camel's back, you know. And he did a lot of work, physical work on that
Is that what you're
film.
saying to yourself to make yourself feel better that you didn't break Dan McPherson's body?
Well, he broke his
He
own
was going to
body.
break anyway.
He broke his own body, but he worked really hard on the film, as everyone did. So I suppose that me picking him up at the end of the fight was a bit of a jolting movement that might have forced some kind of injury that he had.
Oh, so all you did, so you didn't body slam him or anything like that. You just helped him get back up, and that was it.
I picked him up, um, like you know, picked him up, wrapped his legs around me, and he said that's when he felt something go in his hip, and he's like, "Oh shit!" He's trying.
You're kidding.
I thought he was acting at the end of the film, and he said he couldn't walk, and I was like, "All right." I helped him out of the circle, not the octagon. It's a circle in the one championship. Helped him down the stairs, and yeah, he was in a world of pain. Had to go straight to the hospital, and the next day they finally used the doubles. The next day,
He did fighting,
yeah,
like he was doing the actual fighting by himself, Dan McPherson.
yeah, yeah, big time. I mean, because the way that the film kept getting delayed and it kept getting changed and whatnot, he ended up having 2 or 3 years of fight training for this film. So he got to a really good level with it, and
Yeah.
he wanted to get in there and do most of the stuff himself, as did Bren Foster, who's the other fighter. He's a he's a ex taekwondo champion and very capable fighter as well. So them two were slugging it out
Mm,
for 90% of the movie that you see, which makes it really
mm,
great to watch. You know, you can really tell with the fight choreography that that is high level, and everyone who's watched it
mm.
so far from the fight community is blown away by it. So I'm looking forward to for it. We're trying to get a few fighters to go and watch it in Sydney. We're going to Volkanovski and Robert Whitaker to try and watch the fight and give us their feedback.
I remember you were telling me that you had this big fight scene, just you and Ethan Hawke in the film The
Yeah,
Wait. And I've had a
yeah,
couple of fight scenes, nothing like that, nothing majorly choreographed or anything, but it is hard. It is hard
mm,
work. It's like it's kind of like dance choreography, but you can
yeah.
actually physically damage the person in front of you's face, right?
Oh yeah, big time. And I was fighting three people off. So there's three interactions with three different actors in the one scene. So yeah, I had to be well rehearsed for that one. And it was one of them was Julia Jones, which is a female, which is she's it was very you had to be very gentle and very. I mean the stunt
You fought
woman who
Julia Jones as well.
the stunt woman who came in and did most of the work for her was amazing. You know, I I don't want to ruin it too much, but I flip her over my shoulder, you know, flip her over my body, and she uh she took it like a champion.
And just so if anyone doesn't know, George is about 7.5 foot tall and about 6 foot wide. Is that about right?
Yeah, not far off.
Compared to
Not
me,
far off.
anyhow.
Yeah, I was big. I was tipping over 300 pounds for all our Americans out there, and about 140, 150 kilos, 6'5". So yeah,
Wow.
she was not holding back. This stunt woman, I forgot her name, but she was great.
Have you had a chance to see the film?
Yeah, I watched it for the first time in at Sundance at Park City, so blown away.
Oh wow. Yep. Yep. And you bought your own fight scenes? You weren't sitting there critiquing yourself?
It just happened like I was kind of trying to take it all in, and I think the second, third time I watch it will be better, because it was just like, whoa, what's going on? But yeah, it looked great. It looked great. It was kind of a big build up to that point in the film, and yeah, it
Mm.
was a good moment, really good moment to have.
How do you go watching yourself? I personally, I can't even, sometimes you call your phone to find out where it is and you hear a second of your voicemail, yourself talking. I cannot stand that. I know you
Yeah.
should be watching your stuff to try and better your craft and try to fix
Mm,
the areas that you could fix, but
mm.
it's just so tough.
I suppose a lot of my development has come from recording myself and watching it back and trial and error. So I kind of like that, doing that. I'm not like your traditional trained actor, I suppose, from a school. I'm one of those actors on set who do like to go and check the monitor and sit and have a look at it.
So you went from playing footy for how many years professionally,
Yeah,
and then just almost within the same year you switched to acting, or within the same week
yeah,
even, right?
yeah. I mean, on the surface, it kind of seems like that, but for me, it was always there. Really, I did a school play in school, like when I was young, and it was my first time being on a stage, acting in a school play, and I got a real big bug from it. And I suppose from that young age, I was kind of obsessed with it, really. And I was doing drama classes from
Yeah.
a young age, and messing around and filming and doing things. And I suppose there was a certain age where that uncomfortable teenager, embarrassed teenager, youngest brother in the group, takes over, and I stopped doing it, and sport took over, definitely. But my creative side was always there, and when I found I could be confident enough to find my way back to it, I found it. I started.
Mm.
I think when I had kids myself, I started doing classes again. So I was mid-20s in Sydney playing for the Rabbitohs, and I would go on Tuesday, Thursday nights, go do classes with a group of people, and it was my
Oh, that's
little
awesome.
escape.
Who did you do that with?
So I started off at this place called Screenwise in Surrey Hills,
Yep.
and I loved it,
Yep.
and then I'd pick up like random auditions for stuff. So I did a couple of theatre shows, and that was a great school for me. I did a handful of student films off Star Now. I'd rock up to the audition.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
actually
yeah.
it's actually
That's
it's actually
brave.
George Bird. It's George Burgess from the NRL, and no, but it was fun because that was my way of getting in and doing it and putting it to the test. And I
Yeah.
think 2019 was a big year for me because I got into a bit of trouble playing in rugby. I got a 9-match suspension, and I think I missed 12 games that year, which is half the season through suspension. And my coach at the time,
Wow.
Wayne Bennett was like, "You got to have some interest outside of football that you do." And I told him what mine was, and he was very supportive. and he gave me like
Yeah.
probably 6 weeks off to go and do this film. I did a film in that time, and it was called Ascendant. It's actually still on IMDb. I played a Russian guy, and then I did two theater shows, two short and sweet theater shows in that time. So that was like a big moment, big year for me because I realized I could actually do it. You know, if I wanted to put some time and effort into it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just kind of flowed on from there. 2022 came, and I had a decision to do this film with Russell, be shadow him on this film, and learn from him on this film called Land of Bad.
Yep, I remember that. I remember doing an audition for The Land of Bad. I think there was some roles in a submarine that I went for. That wasn't the one that you got, was it?
I was one of the airmen in the base, but I wasn't really supposed to have a role in that movie at all. I was just kind of there to learn and watch and shadow Russell on the whole set basically, and I learned so much doing that. But
Yeah.
I got a small role in the movie, which didn't make the final cut, but that was fine. I still got to
Oh,
do a
devastating.
scene. I did a scene with did a scene with Russell Crowe, and that was my first big scene. You know,
No biggie, just an Oscar award winner.
yeah, it was quite intimidating because he's a friend of mine and everything, and I'm comfortable around it. But when we're on set and walking to do the scene, he's like, "Are you can be nervous now if you want." I'm like trying to keep it cool. Like, yeah, I'm a bit nervous actually, but I suppose yeah, we did it, and it was on top of that having to do an American accent as well, which is like, but no, it was a great experience.
Did he evolve into the Russell Crowe, the actor that we all know? Like, from your point of view, right? You know him personally. Did he sort
Mm.
of like just transform into this other person, or was it kind of so natural
Yeah.
that you didn't even realize he was acting?
Oh, he's not one of those guys who is in character from when he gets to the set. He's kind of when the director calls action, he's flips into it and is very professional. But
Yeah.
he's just I don't know. He's got like an aura about him. You know, he's got a way of just tapping into
Mm,
an emotion or a feeling in a scene, and you can definitely
mm.
feel it. It's great to watch.
If there was two things that you learned from him watching him on set as an actor, what would they be?
He doesn't try and do things too differently when he's filming a scene, but at the same time, he does very subtle changes. It's like he has this amazing way of knowing what it's going to look like in the editing room. If you get what I mean, he knows because he's done it so many
Yeah,
times.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
he knows how they can join up, and I could see that he was doing things differently in certain parts. When he knew there was a different angle or whatever, it was yeah. Looking back at it now, now I've done more. I can see what he was doing, and very smart.
Mm,
But he says a lot without words, and does a lot without words, which I really like. That's kind of the kind of acting that I like to do myself. It's body
mm.
language stuff and eye movements and just
Stillness.
natural things that he brings from his personal, way, I suppose. It doesn't look it doesn't look
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
like it's not like he's acting. He's bringing in some mannerisms that he's acquired, I suppose.
yeah. I imagine that's given your background as like a footy player as well. I imagine that they're the types of roles that you're probably going to get is like the man who doesn't say much, and that's the reason you should be running the other direction. Is is that about right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lifetime for me of conveying body language and reading body language. So you kind of, without knowing, you develop a high skill of body language, and it can definitely help
Mm.
when you're on in a frame, and you have to kind of tell a story at the same time you got your dialogue going.
From the footy field, you mean? Like predicting your opponent's moves and everything?
Yeah, yeah, because you're constantly reading what the opposition are doing with their body and trying to react to that as well. But at the same time, you're trying to convey positive body language always. So you end up subconsciously learning um
You're
like
acting.
body language skills, yeah. And a lot of athletes don't even know they have that skill. I mean, before we could speak, we only communicated with body language. You know, when you go back through the history of language, body language was our number one. So it's like on screen, it's when you see it on screen, it's yeah, such a powerful thing to have on a screen.
That's why I'm quietly confident that AI is going to really struggle to create like those tiny little movements, the tiny little bits of body language, right? It might just even be a slight delay in responding to someone, or
Yeah,
your eyes, or
yeah,
tilting your chin down versus tilting it up, or something like that. Like those little nuances.
yeah.
There's some that people don't even write about. That information is not even written down on the internet. So AI is just not going to be able
Mm,
to access that, right? And they're not going to be able to watch
yeah,
a film and go, well, that's a good performance because of this. No, it's a good performance in that scene and that scene
yeah.
only. You can't really drag that over to another scene.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, but anytime I see some kind of AI performance, I get very uncomfortable watching it. It's very yeah, it's not
I
a
know.
nice it's not a nice experience for me.
Hey, Takaya, this is my good friend, George Burgess.
Hello, George. How you doing? Can you hear me all right?
I can hear very loud and clear.
George and I sometimes we help each other out with auditions, and George had an audition the other day
I'm
with
sorry,
an Aussie.
George, if he's the one that's helping you. That's rough.
Well, he booked the fucking role, all right? He booked the role. Did you book the role, George? You didn't book the
Well,
role, did you?
actually,
that wasn't a yes.
whilst we've been on this call, I got a call from my agent, so it could have happened.
Oh, attack! I have been working like a dog this week. My skin is just so dry. It's outrageous. What's going on with you? You're in Melbourne. How come your skin's glowing?
Well, I've got a secret. It's magic. It's Egyptian magic. You can use it on your face, your body, even as a hair treatment.
And where did you get this stuff from? This magic potion?
From our pals and sponsors at beautyboat.com. They sent you some as well, and for a limited time, our Bin Night audience gets 25% off Egyptian magic and their entire order by using the code BIN25.
Egyptian magic, huh? Oh. Oh. Wait a second. Did you say I can use this anywhere?
Well, yeah, but don't get weird. You can use Egyptian magic as a face moisturizer, an eye cream, scar treatment, hair mask, baby cream, shaving balm, and anything else you might think of. It's got beeswax, honey, bee pollen, royal jelly, propolis.
I'm going to stock up. So what do we do? Beautyboat.com. I put everything, add all into cart. Yes, that's going straight into my basket. And the code is
BIN25. That's spelled BIN25. You get 25% off your whole order.
You guys can browse the website as there are so many incredible products, including the signature discovery boxes. Ooh la la.
Thank you, beautyboat.com.
Thank you, beautyboat.com.
Beautyboat is our official beauty partner here at Bin Night with Tack and Matty.
Hey, Tack, is there such a thing as only hands? What?
I should call him back right now and see if
You don't want to do that.
Yeah, put it on the pod. We'll have an exclusive here.
He's probably saying that I've been dropped or something.
Well, I was saying George sent me a tape that he did recently. Had to do a Aussie accent, and oh my goodness, I reckon, I reckon like 0.5% of that take, I was like, oh, that's George. Like, that's his accent. The rest of it, you were from the outback of Australia or something. That was so well done.
Well, when you got a bit of dialogue and you can riff around with it, and you get to sound a bit Aussie.
Yeah. When did you shift over from the UK?
I was 18 years old when I came over here, so I was, young kid, and that's 15
It's
years
25
ago
years
now.
ago now, wasn't it?
15 years ago. So, I mean, for me, when I go back to where I'm from in Yorkshire, it's everyone gives me shit for how I speak because they think I'm full blown Australian. But to you guys,
Wow.
I still sound not very much northern, but yeah, compared to how I used to speak, which was inaudible, then it's very different.
Well, can you give us a bit of that then? Show us a bit of the full northern.
All right, my son. I'll go back to the north of England, and it's really I can't even switch back into it because it was so like thick and rough. Yeah.
You're gonna get criticism for this. They're gonna say he's not from the north.
You've lost your roots. He's not.
Oh, I'm smack bang in the middle. I don't belong to anyone. I'm just like in my own little sphere.
George had to do one of his first gigs was Russian, and then some of the other stuff we've been doing has been American. Now you've just done Australian. You're going to be screwed if you have to do your natural accent by the sounds of it.
Well, no one will believe which accent you've got, Be a bit of like what Christian Bale. No one believes his real accent.
Yeah.
Because they've heard so much of other accents.
That is confusing. I saw an interview with him the other day and I was like, why is he doing that accent?
I like his real accent. It's kind of fun to listen to. Christian Bale.
There was this great interview with Daniel Day-Lewis and his son. They were interviewing each other. And oh my goodness, is he a completely different person in his real life? Like that's why they call him the best, right? You can't even see a glimpse of him in some of those characters that he's played.
Did the dream of acting, has that always existed for you?
Yeah. I was the same before. I was a young kid in school when I first got the experience of being on a stage and performing, and that was for me where it started, and it's kind of been constant since then, really, for me.
As like in sports, right? You're essentially and sorry for the Russell reference, but it's like the gladiators, right? The gladiators are the performers, and you're doing it on the set of the film set, and you're also doing it on the field. Like, is there a similar way that you approach both of those scenarios?
Oh yeah, definitely. For me, sport became my theater. I was playing a character when I step on the field, and definitely I was expressing myself creatively the way that I played, and that was kind of my outlet to be creative when I was playing sport, in the way in the style of play that I had, and then the theater of the game, the fans, the mind games, all that stuff is part of the theater, which I loved.
Like, give me something specific, like something that you're playing with, the creativity. Are you talking about I don't know, like getting into the psyche of your opponent or something like that?
For me, it was because there's so many different lines lines that you can run in a game, or you can step off this foot and then offload with your right on a switch hands and do something with your left. So there's so many variations of play that you can do in a game. Like for me, I had a few pet plays that I like to do, which were kind of created by myself and the hooker in training, and that was kind of my way of expressing individuality in through my sport.
you were talking about how, I guess, the performer in you, how that came out in your rugby play, and how that creativity sort of flowed out. And I imagine you're quite kind of comfortable in front of the crowd then, to a degree. But are there any ways in which you feel that rugby was able to teach you or inform you as an actor?
We were talking about this just before. Body language skills were something that I picked up to a high level playing sport at a high level, because you're constantly reading the opposition and what they're doing, and then at the same time trying to convey positive body language. So your brain becomes attuned to a high level with body language. It creeps into your performance without knowing, which is great. It's something that you want to be second nature. So you get into a situation in a set, in a scene, and things start happening naturally, which is great.
Where would you like yourself to be in 10 years' time?
Matty and I have talked about it before, George. We haven't talked about it on the pod, though. Just want to be chef rich. I want to have a personal chef. Doesn't have to cook anything anymore.
Yeah.
And just have yummy meals every night. That'd be
That's a
nice.
good marker. That's a good marker
that's where I want to be in 10 years' time. I want to have a chef.
I've seen it with Russell and his setup, and a few friends who have got chefs, and it's pretty good, but it's not too good on the waistline, I will say, because any moment you could be like, make me a club sandwich. I'm hungry. But I suppose if you got enough money for a chef, you got enough money for everything else, right? You got to be a good personal trainer, and you got all the sports equipment.
Yeah. Then there's the gardener.
Nah, I'll just have the chef and nothing else.
Chef first. That's number one, and then everything else.
So George, what about you in 10 years' time?
Progressing through the ladder of this business and this industry, and having my kids get to an age where they can be involved with it would be really cool. The common experience, traveling around the world on different sets and different experiences would be a really cool experience for them to have as well, and for me to have with them at the same time. I think that'd be cool.
I can see you doing a Guy Ritchie film or something like that. Maybe even a Scorsese, one of his baddies.
Maybe I'll even do a Matty Wilson film. That'd be cool.
There you go. There's an idea. See, our dreams collide.
That's it. The last film I did was kind of like that. The opportunity to work alongside Ethan Hawke was like, I'll come and do that for not much money, and just the experience of being on the set with him for 3 months was big for me.
Absolutely, he's like the ultimate artist type actor as well, who has such a whole body of, like, he's like a pure artist in that sense, in what he brings to his roles and his work. And was there any questions or anything that you asked him that he gave some really interesting advice about? Because he seems to be a person who has such an interesting outlook and perspective on things.
Yeah, he's just, I mean, most of the scenes we had were like, campfire 1, campfire 2, campfire 3. So a lot of the stuff we had, we just sat around a campfire, playing music in between scenes, and talking and telling stories, and he's just got a great outlook on life, I suppose, and what it is to be an artist in this industry. He's very committed to it, and very serious about it, which was great, and just great to see someone how he approaches a role, was great, and how different he will approach different roles. I think for the one that he was just nominated for, the Blue Moon project, he'd made like little booklets for each scene, and he'd lay them out every morning, and he'd pick a booklet to read, and it was like his little sections that he would split them into, but he'd write everything out he'd write all of his dialogue out by hand, and so it felt more personal to him. And I think that's a great way of doing it as well.
Are you going to be writing your dialogue out now by hand? Is that something you're going to steal?
I suppose if you're doing scenes like you did in Blue Moon, where it's heavy on the dialogue, then I suppose it would help. It would help definitely if you can help you get to grips with the text more.
It is a personal thing being able to learn lines as well. I remember I played Puck in A Midsummer Night's Dream for like 6 or 7 years.
He tells every guest this.
I really don't. But I remember at one point, the director, like a few of the cast had been dropping lines or whatever. So the director said, I want everyone to like spend some time really today dedicated to going over their lines and stuff. So I hand wrote out all my lines. But it screwed with me. It actually made me started to forget lines because I've got quite a strong visual sense and I learn a lot visually. So where the words were on the page and where they were in relation to other things, even the font, the color and all that kind of stuff, helped me learn or remember. And so me handwriting it out actually broke that. And so then this role I'd been doing for ages, I was like, oh my God, what are my lines? Why did I do this? It was a terrible idea. So it's like, it is a really personal thing where, for him, something might work and it's like a beautiful way for him to absorb the lines, the characters and that kind of thing. But for other people, it doesn't work. So it is really about, trialing out and testing, what works for you. And so it's really lucky for you to be surrounded with these actors at such an echelon, and see how they're approaching these things, and then grabbing bits and pieces for yourself. Because it's a really cool opportunity for you.
I think the way he approached that character Lorenzo Hart was because the character Lorenzo Hart was a writer, and he was someone that created, and so for him to do it that way really helped him tap into, I suppose, the writer in that guy, and this character he's playing is someone who's got used to writing down things and speaking it to the world. So him getting into that rhythm of doing that during filming was probably something that helped him. That's what I love about this game, is that there's so many different methods that you can discover and use to your advantage. There's no rules. There's no rules to it, which I love.
For me personally, it was tricky because I'd come from doing 10 years of building work, right? So if you go to install something, it has to be exactly this. There is one way to do it. There's not multiple ways there's one result that you should achieve, rather. There's multiple ways to do it, but there's one final result. That's what it needs to be, exactly as the plan. But then as soon as I was stepping onto a film set, when I went to Neighbours, I was doing these things and I kept asking for like opinions, and I was asking directors and saying, hey, is that right? And they're like, yeah, it's fine. And someone else is like, oh, there's no right or wrong. It's just, if you think that's good, then that's how you're going to do it. And that was so hard for me because all of a sudden there was no sort of like North Star. There was nothing for me to follow. There was no set of plans other than a script, but you can sort of go wherever you want with that. I guess that's kind of similar for footy too, right? Like you got rules to abide by. All of a sudden there's no rules.
It's exciting, makes it exciting. It's so your opportunity to put your own spin on it and make it something new is an exciting part of what we do.
Do you approach it like an athlete? Do you have a schedule laid out for you like you would for training and hitting the gym and stuff? Do you go, I'm going to do voice work at this point, I'm going to do some body work at this point, I'm going to do some character work or anything like that? Have you brought any of that kind of athlete mentality to being an actor?
I wasn't really like that as an athlete, so I just kind of rough your way through it and get to certain checkpoints, I suppose, and you know yourself
Yeah.
if you're falling, if you're not bringing your A game, you know what, things that you need to do to get up to that level, I suppose. But yeah, I try not to be too strict and too regimented about it, because then it takes a little bit of fun out of it for me anyway, personally.
Mate, you've also got a lot going on, especially while you were playing footy, right? You've had 3 kids, like, really young. Like, how old were you when you had your first kid?
Yeah, so Boston was born about 2 weeks before my 25th birthday. Yeah, and then I was 16-month gap girl, and then 11-month gap another girl. So 27 months, I had 3 kids under 27, and I was like, yeah, this is real. This is happening, and
That
it was
is,
full on. But
yeah.
I was wanting to be a young father, and I suppose it happened.
Now we're in the hurt locker now. We're in that situation, 5, 3, and a 1-year-old. And just trying to allocate time for this and time for that is so difficult. Like, I imagine you were probably, while you were playing footy, you probably couldn't do all of that prep work
Yeah.
that you sort of, I don't know, that's expected of you, because you've also got like a young family to look after, right?
Yeah, definitely things start to become secondary to what was once, the only thing that you were worried about. So yeah, it does start to take away from your performance a little bit, but I mean, it's a trade-off. There's more to life, I suppose, than playing your profession or your craft or whatever. It's
Yeah.
family's number one for me.
You said that you always wanted to be a young father. Where does that come from? Particularly the idea of being a young dad.
I don't know. I think I lost my dad when I was 15, so maybe it comes from that, longing, that connection of a father. If you don't have your father, you want to create that connection for yourself as a father. So and yeah, I suppose maybe that's where it came from, and yeah, I suppose it helped me deal with that a little bit, having my own kids.
Has it lived up to your expectations of what you thought it would be and what you were desiring in that sense, or has it been completely different?
Oh, it's been amazing. It really completely changed my whole outlook on life. I when I had kids, that's when I started being more true to what I wanted to do with the acting, and it motivated me to get out and set a better example, I suppose, for those young kids that are coming after me. You gotta set an example of what you believe is right, and yeah, it brings out the best. It brought out the best in me as a person.
I had this conversation with my sister the other day, who's also got she's pregnant now. She's also got another young kid. We just sort of had this moment where, when you take stock of your life, you're so busy you forget that this is everything you wanted. We both just took stock of our lives, and we were like, wow, this is I've been thinking about being a dad ever since I was maybe 13, 14 years old. Been looking forward to it my whole life. And then now this is a reality. And if you
Yeah.
if you don't stop and have that sort of that moment of gratitude, then you just get worried about, like, oh, this is so stressful. I got to feed them. They're blah, blah, blah. They're not sleeping.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, I don't know. I had that moment. Are you having those moments at the moment, Tack, or are you stressed out because of childcare sicknesses and?
No, well, I was saying this last night to somebody of whose their baby's due next week. I said, don't get too caught
do
up
it.
in, like.
Did you say don't do it?
Well,
Back
I
out.
tried to, but I think it was a bit too late. No, I was saying that, like, it's easy to sort of get caught up in the social media version of people's lives and everyone showing off the perfect moments that they have with their kids. And it's super rewarding, but it's also fine to say it's fucking hard. So it's going to be great, but don't feel like you've got to pretend like it's easy and everything's smooth sailing and find
Yeah.
yourself having to say, oh yeah, well, no, we're really lucky and no, they're great and that kind of thing. It's like, yeah, no, there's some beautiful moments, absolutely, and it's well worth it. But it's also allowed to be it's fucking hard sometimes.
I reckon I've been too far the other way. I've had I was like yesterday I had another realization. I was like, God, I feel like for the last 3 years, all I've been saying is this is fucking hard, and I haven't been talking about the good moments enough.
I mean, my way of looking at that is always like, whatever struggle you go through with your children is like, it makes me feel better if I think it's gonna come back to me tenfold when they get older. It's like you're putting the work into your kids now, and you reap the rewards when they get older. It's like a nice warm feeling. You're like, ah,
That
shit,
is.
I got some good coming back to me with all this that we've been through. But I see it with
That's-
with my mum, and she raised 4 boys, and she's kind of reaping the benefits now of having 4 boys who all kind of look after her a little bit.
Where do you sit in the brothers? What's the order?
So there's 2 older brothers, Luke and Sam, and then me and Tom, we're the twin brothers. We're the youngest. And Tom is 15 minutes older than me. Seen pictures of my mum when she was heavily pregnant with me and my twin brother is quite distressing. She's she's out here, and luckily my mum's a big, tall woman. She's 6'1", and she was a big, strong footy player as well, so she could carry the weight. There's an old tale of my mum, because we used to live on this street called Forge Lane, and at the end of the street there's a hill that goes up to the primary school where the older 2 went. So she'd be taking my dad was a builder. She'd be taking the kids to school. She'd be pushing the twins up the hill with a pram, and walking the other 2 to school. And it was like a bit of a urban legend, seeing my mum's pushing these twins up the hill, with 2 of the 4 kids under 5, just bossing it. She still teaches at Scots College in Sydney, so she gets to inspire some other young boys at Scots College. And it's funny, I meet a lot of people who in Sydney especially come up to me, and they've been to Scots College, and they're like, "Oh, you're Julie Burgess's son." So it's like it's quite a cool thing for people to come and approach me and say that. I was told by your
That's
mum,
awesome. I'm sure for her, she gets a lot of you're the Burgess boys' mum, but no,
Yeah.
not there.
So we get the opposite, which is cool sometimes. All my kids are off sick school today, so it's a bit of a chaos in the house.
Oh, you're kidding. No, that's
Joe
all right.
Joe tried to get them off out of the house for a little bit,
Hey,
but they
Joe!
just come back inside. That's all good.
All right, mate. I think we'll let you go because you got your hands full there. But mate, oh hello.
This one's Birdie.
So I guess the question is, do you get them into sports or do you get them into theatre or acting?
Bit of both. They've tried the hands at both, and they love it. They come with me down to the Noosa Pirates training ground, and Birdie was just got on new boots, so she was trying them out last night. And but
Hey.
they also did they did Little Seed Theatre Company, and they did a performance there, which was the kangaroo.
There you
Kangaroo performance, so that they enjoy trying different things, I suppose.
Let me know next time. I'll come down and see. Thanks, George, mate. Get back to your kids. I'm looking forward to seeing this trailer for The Wait, and a little public message. Don't try and Google a trailer for The Wait at the moment, because you'll be disappointed.
Just look out for my Instagram, because if there is a trailer, I'll be posting it straight away.
The real one. That's right. On George Burgess Instagram. And also The Beast comes out. When does The Beast come out? So
10th of April in America, and then the 24th 4th of April in Australia.
Yep, there you go. A few soap opera alumni in there as well. Russell Crowe straight from the Neighbours set to The Beast.
Dan Macpherson is
Dan Macpherson. I don't know if Luke Hemsworth, did he do one of those?
Yeah.
Dan did an amazing job in the movie. So I'm looking forward to everyone seeing it.
He looks great.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, fellas. Speak to you soon. See you down the traps.
Thank you, George. That was amazing. I mean, we've got a guy who's an elite athlete there. He's spent his life doing things at the absolute peak level, and now he's just going to bring that across to acting. So, if I were you, I would keep tabs on George Burgess, and then maybe you can revisit this pod once he starts doing his Oscar-nominated films. If The Wait doesn't get an Oscars nod, which I can't wait to see, because the trailers they're just AI slop. They're really hard to watch. I think what happened is people got all of the photos from the screenshots from the actual IMDb page for The Wait, and then they've just animated those and tried to make their own fan base trailer up there. But it's a real problem, because now even people who think that they know what AI slop looks like, they can't even tell the difference. So is my job going to be up on the line? Is your job going to be up on the line? I don't know. I don't think it will. I don't think it's going to be able to do it. I think people are going to crave that human interaction again, my opinion. And I heard there's a guy called Rick Rubin, if you've heard of him, a music producer, but he's a very, very creative person. I think he's got a book called Creativity, maybe. But he had a really good take on AI, and he said, look, they're called reasoning models, and art is the basis of art is like it's unreasonable. That's why it's interesting. It's not something that you usually expect. And if you're watching a movie and you know exactly what's going to happen next, you're going to tune out, or you're not going to start watching movies like that anymore, because there's no excitement, there's no surprises in it for you. And I think AI is like kind of going to be like that. I mean, sure, animation is going to be very different, but in terms of like replicating actual humans, I think it's going to be tricky. Look, that's my opinion. Take it or leave it. Thank you very much. Oh, hold on. Someone's at the bins.
Yo.
Hey. Hello, Tom. How did I do?
Really good, man. Really good. Proud of you. Proud of you, Matty.
You know I don't like it without my boo here.
Oh, no. I'm quite enjoying it.
I need him. Yeah, okay. All right.
I've had a lovely day.
I know. But we had to Google things because Mr. Know-It-All wasn't here to give us the answers before we had the chance to Google it. So
anyway, Matthew, we've had another letter arrive at Bin Night HQ.
Is this a physical letter?
Yeah. Yeah. People are writing physical letters. Yeah.
You just need to post it to us. You just need to put it in your bin and we'll get it.
Yeah, any bin.
Yeah.
I'll find it. Okay. So, hi boys, or hi Matt in this case. I've got a bit of a dilemma and I genuinely don't know what to do. I'm married to the most incredible woman. I love her deeply. We have a really strong relationship, and in every way, we're very happy. We laugh, we support each other, and we have a very healthy and active sex life.
I'm really glad we got that sex life note.
I feel awful for even writing this. My wife has really bad breath. And I don't mean just the odd morning breath. I mean persistent, quite severe, almost halitosis level bad breath. It's genuinely quite overwhelming at times. She looks after herself, great hygiene, which makes me think it's something medical rather than anything she's doing. But it's really starting to affect our intimacy. I find myself pulling away or avoiding certain moments. Yes, tough, man. I don't know how to bring it up without absolutely crushing her. She'd be mortified. And the last thing I want to do is make her feel self-conscious or embarrassed. But I don't feel I can ignore it forever. It's already impacting our relationship. What do I do? And that's just from C. He's anonymous. Just C.
Gosh, you know what? You know what I sometimes think is that sometimes, so in this instance, right, she doesn't realize she has bad breath. So then you got to look introspective, right? I went through this period where I started to think I was like, maybe I have some sort of amnesia and I don't even realize. And everyone else is just acting nice around me and not telling me because they don't want me to feel offended. And yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so this girl is a similar situation, right? She's got bad breath, but no one else wants to say it because they feel they're just being nice. Like he or she said, it is a medical, it could be a medical thing. So if you approach it from that angle, but oh gosh, how do you do that?
It's hard.
Yeah, it is. I think, like, I've worked with people before that have had really, really bad personal hygiene, and these two people were a couple, and they didn't realize because both of them had the bad hygiene, so they were sort of, but everyone around them knew that it was a problem. But how do you, like, they're sort of
I guess cancelling each other out.
yeah, they cancel each other out. Yeah, oh gosh, I don't know. I think,
but do you think it's do you think it's then in that case they both just don't mind, or can the other one just not smell the other one because they both smell equally as bad? Couldn't tell you.
In that case, then you're living with it, right? So you've got the thing with smells, and you're someone out there. This is why we need Tack, right? Because he knows everything. They say that if you have an odor, you know how you put perfume on or cologne, and then it feels like it dies off and you can't smell it anymore. Apparently, that's a defense mechanism, right? And because you should be able to smell other things to smell danger, so your mind blocks out whatever the aromas that follow you around, so that you can smell danger. Or you could smell off food because that's going to be a danger to you, and all sorts of stuff, poisonous stuff, whatever. And so she wouldn't be able to smell that at all. It's a defense mechanism. But if they're at a stage in their relationship where if you feel like you're too nervous to bring it up and it's going to blow up in your face, then you probably got other things to work on, right? There's some openness stuff. Okay, here we go. All right, now we're working through it. This is it. You got to offer something up. Okay, C, anonymous. You got to offer something up. You just need to get her to say something really, really sensitive or vulnerable about you. Okay, and it could be about the shape of your toes or something really personal. And then after that, you go, okay, my turn.
Yeah.
About this breath. I feel like that's going to get you into more of an argument.
Yeah, he's like, or she, might be a she, like, yeah, I mean, I don't have anything. You're perfect. Oh, maybe your breath stinks. It's like...
bad breath.
I think C sounds like a really nice person. They're very respectful in their tone. They clearly really love their wife and don't want to upset them. And I think it's a very lovely, well put together email.
I guess, yeah, I'm going to revert back to the thing is, like, if you're not comfortable enough to do that, then maybe there's other things in the relationship that should come first, and that's the level of openness that you can do, or because at the moment now, I know I can go up to Jess and say, babe, get back in the bathroom. You got to brush your teeth. It's killing me. You got to brush your teeth at the moment, and she's like, yeah, you're right. I got to go back in. And if I said that to her 5 times in a row, she might have that thought. I reckon too. And I think we go back to the thing. If nothing changes, nothing changes. You got to make change. Right now, you're standing on the edge of the cliff. You're about to take a risk. Sometimes it's fun to fly. You got to maintain that sex life. You got to maintain that healthy sex life, which you probably need your mouth for at some point. All right. Thanks very much. Well, Thanks for joining, Tom, and thank you for listening to my solo pod. Well, sort of solo. And we'll see you on the next one. Make sure you check out The Beast, April 10th. Ciao!